To factor this, you notice that there is an x in both terms. You must pull out the x, so it factors to x times x minus 5. That is now factored completely. To factor this problem, you look to see if there's something in common. You notice that there is not something in common. But then you look at the next term to see if it's a difference of perfect squares. 9x squared is a perfect square, and 25 is a perfect square. They're separated by a negative sign, so we have a difference of perfect squares. The difference of perfect squares always factor to the perfect square of the first term, which in this case is 3x and 3x, the perfect square of the second term, which in this case is 5 and 5, and since it's difference, you want a plus and a minus. If you're curious to see if you're right, you can always check by FOILing. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 5 is minus 15x. 5x, 5 times 3x is positive 15x. And 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. When you simplify and combine like terms, you end up with 9x squared minus 25, which was what you started with. In this expression, you can neither take out a common factor or there is not a difference of perfect squares. So you must look at the last term. The last term is 6. We want the factors of 6, which are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. We want the terms that add to get negative 5. Well, in order to multiply to get positive 6 and add to get negative 5, we must make 2 and 3 negative. So our factors end up being x minus 2 and x minus 3. To check this, we FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is minus 3x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. When you combine like terms, you end up with x squared minus 5x plus 6, which is what you started with. To factor this, once again, we must multiply to get negative 10 and add to get negative 3x. The factors of negative 10 are 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. The only one that will work to get negative 3 is if we have a minus 5 and a positive 2. Minus 5 and positive 2 results in x minus 5 and x plus 2. When you FOIL to check, you discover that x times x is x squared, x times positive 2 is positive 2x, negative 5 times x is negative 5x, negative 5 times 2 is minus 10. When we simplify, we end up with x squared minus 3x minus 10, which is what we started with.